Welcome to CREW Tampa Bay CREWcast. My name is Angye Fox from Ad Sizzle Realty, and I'm here today joined by Amanda Converse, who is from Hillsborough County. She's an economic developer, and our featured guest today is Julia Silva. She is the president and founder of Lee Associates Tampa Bay. Well, welcome to our CREWcast, and let's kick it off, Amanda.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much, Angye, for having us, and thank you, Julia, for hosting this beautiful time that we get to have. Would you be able to give us just a little bit of a background about your journey into commercial real estate and what initially attracted you to the industry, and a little bit more about how you found your niche as a broker?
Great. Yeah, absolutely. So I started actually in New York City at JLL, Jones Lang Wooten at the time, and I was an analyst. I had an accounting degree and I was an underwriter, and I was just crunching numbers. And I quickly realized that sitting behind the desk and crunching numbers was not what I wanted to do. And I really didn't even understand the connection between the assets that I was underwriting and the numbers I was producing. I didn't realize the connection. I was just running numbers. And then I started realizing, wait, that I recognized that address in New York. I was like, wow, I did the underwriting for that building when they were selling it. And I started connecting the dots. So I moved to Tampa in 1992. With 2 kids, single mom, and I worked for a small local real estate developer. And I was everything. I was the receptionist. I was the marketing person. I did everything, and I became invaluable to them because I didn't just answer the phones. I got involved in, hey, I want to start doing your flyers. Your flyers are very boring, and I find it amazing that even still today, some women are graduating with their bachelor's and their master's, and they still have to start in an administrative role in our business to kind of break through. So that's what I did. And I just became invaluable. When I was in New York City, I would have worked till 2:00 in the morning with the analysts, and they were all Ivy League, educated. And I'd be like, hey, I can run those models for you. And I was just learning. And the more I learned, the more valuable I became. So the company that I was working for told me about a position that was opening up with a local developer who was looking for a leasing agent. And I knew that guy was interviewing like all the top brokers, and I faxed him at the time. Yes. Everybody knows what a fax is here. We're good. And I faxed him, and I basically sent him a letter, and I said, I know you're interviewing all of these top brokers, but you can get me for a third of the price. No one's going to outwork me. And I have 2 children. I'm a single mom, and I will not have bad habits. You get to train me your way. And he took a lunch with me, and he hired me. And then that company was purchased by Prologis. So I was one of Prologis's, which is one of the biggest owners in the world today, publicly traded company. I was one of the first female leasing agents in the country. So that's kind of the way I fell into it. And I fell in love with industrial. It was just a passion of mine. I loved how it moved the product around our country. And I resonated with it because both my parents worked in a factory. So I kind of went back home. I was very comfortable with the idea of things were being made in a factory and then coming to your home and being brought to your table, if you will.
You were talking about having good habits. Commercial real estate can be highly competitive. And what habits would you suggest in what I would consider a male prevalent industry that you use as a woman?
I never saw it that way. I just always felt comfortable in the environment. I never thought of the gender disparity in it. I just accelerated and outworked everybody. But I think confidence in this business comes from competence. And the way you become the best at what you're doing is that you learn the most. The most valuable commodity we have in the business is your intelligence in the business and data. If you don't know how to make a data-driven decision, you're done. Mm-hmm. I find the mistake that most people make is that they try to pretend like they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But they simply don't have the experience. And I learned early in my career that if I wasn't adding value, I didn't need to say anything. Mm-hmm. And that was a hard lesson to learn, but I would let other people, and then I would learn from them, listen to what they had to say. I was like a sponge. I still am a sponge every single day. So.
Excellent. Well, with all of your knowledge and the opportunities that you had to learn, is there one specific deal that you had that really changed your career or moved the trajectory just a little bit for you?
I mean, honestly, the biggest deal of my life I just closed in January.
Share with us about that.
I
Yes.
will. I will. There's so much about it, but and it had a lot to do with what I do on social media. So I get this call on a Thursday night at 8, 9 o'clock, and this gentleman's talking to me about how he saw me on social media, not any kind of social media, but LinkedIn specifically. And he said, I saw you had a development background. And so that intrigued me. I wanted to call you. I've looked at everybody else's resumes, and he named my competitors. At first, I thought he was a stalker. I'm like, what's this guy really want? Like, what's going on here? And an hour and a half later, he wants to hire me.
Wow.
And I'm still thinking something's wrong.
Yeah.
But he knew everything about me, like as far as like my education, my background, all of the accolades, the awards.
He had done his homework.
Right. He had done his homework, but he also knew all my competitors. So I knew that was legit.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm looking for 2 very large tracts of land because we want to build big distribution centers in Florida, at least 2. And I'm like, okay, probably 10,000 square feet. Great. You know,
Yeah.
I'll help you with that, sir. And he sends me the NDA. He calls me back. He literally says, I'm going to hire you. And it's TJ Maxx.
Wow.
And they need 1.2 million square feet
Unbelievable.
in 2 cities in Florida. So he said either Orlando, Tampa, or Jacksonville.
Okay.
And I want you to head up my search. And I literally almost fell off my chair.
Wow.
And that has a lot to do with my tenacity on having a creative license to have a brand, my own brand outside of the companies I was working with. At the time, I was with a publicly traded, one of the biggest companies in the world in commercial brokerage. And they weren't fond of that creativity. They don't like you to have your own brand. And I understand why, but I always felt stifled. And here I am getting hired by one of the Fortune 50 company.
Yeah.
And rather than being excited, I had 2 bosses at the time, or 2 bosses, 2 managing partners. One of my, I sent him an email. I'm so excited. I'm like, this is huge, right?
Yes.
One of them says, oh my gosh, congratulations, this is fabulous. And the other one says, I need to make sure that this isn't an inbound deal. Are you sure this isn't an inbound deal? I'm like, how could I even lie about it, hide it? And why would I ever do something like that? You can't get away with it.
Yeah.
And I was so disheartened. I was just like, are you guys kidding me? Why aren't we screaming from the rooftops
Right.
that I just accomplished something because of the work I did?
Yes.
Normally, you have to go compete for that. You have to compete with the other firms and go through a vetting process. I'm bringing you
This person selected you.
Right.
Sought you out.
Right. Like
Yeah.
and it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
I knew right after that I had to do something different. It's where my journey ended up at Lean Associates and having the opportunity to become the founder and the president of this office. And we'll talk a little bit more about that model and how amazing it is for a broker and very entrepreneurial. But I finished one of the deals when I was with the other firm, but they followed me to Lean Associates. They came with me.
Wow.
And we finished our second deal here in January. So that was like a 4-year process. And it changed my career because consistency was critical. And at one point, after 2 years, they couldn't find the right fit economically, and they were going to pull out of Florida. And it devastated me. I was like, man, I put 2 years into this, and you're not even going to do this deal? And I asked them for patience. I said, the market's going to change. You need to be in Florida. The store growth trajectory matters. These developers who own this land that won't let go, they're going to come back and they're going to sell. Just please be patient. And they were like, okay, we'll think about it. And I was devastated. And 6 months later, I started getting calls, and the developers were like, hey, are they still in the market? Because we will sell our land.
Wow.
And it opened it up. Rather than just like being like heartbroken and saying, okay, they're done, I'm going to move on, I stayed in touch with them.
Yes. Brilliant.
Consistency matters in this business.
Yeah.
Execution matters. But even when it feels like it's terrifying, you're like heartbroken, I stayed in touch.
Yes.
And it was authentic. And I really wanted to help them. It wasn't even about the money. I was on a mission.
Yeah.
But it also meant I couldn't just walk away from it and like never call that person again and just take no for the answer.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my career. And it just happened, right? So it's not like Yeah.
Well, your spidey instincts were right on, Julia.
Yes,
With
yes.
that, I mean, that's incredible. You're, we as women, we work on these things, and it's amazing how this person sought you out and looked at and knew all your competitors, which I'm sure many were men. You're actively involved in CREW Tampa Bay. Tell us a little bit about CREW Tampa Bay and what impact it's had on your life.
So CREW Tampa Bay, I guess we were founded in 1989. We have thousands of members all over the country, all over the world, right? What I loved about their mission was that it was specifically to empower women in our industry, to encourage networking, not just networking, because it's not a networking organization. It is about peer-to-peer deal making.
100%.
They encourage it, and not just woman to woman, but like we have member to member. We have a lot of male members in our chapter, and I just felt like it was comfortable for me. I had also been the president of NAIOP Tampa Bay and the president of NAIOP Florida. So I came with a tremendous amount of experience, like running a board and being involved in the industry. And I wanted to see us elevate. And we were, I was one of the founding members of CREW Tampa Bay.
Yes, with Nancy.
Yes, with
back
Nancy.
in the day.
So when Nancy called me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," I was like, "Really? That's interesting." And we got together, that first group. We got together and we launched it. And I was very active on the board. And then I stepped away because NAIOP elected me to be the president of NAIOP and president of NAIOP Tampa Bay, president of NAIOP Florida. NAIOP's a different organization, and the public affairs side of NAIOP is super powerful. So I really learned about politics with NAIOP. It gave me a completely different skill set that allowed me then to understand how legislation, state, local, county commissioners, city council members really affect our business. And I grew such a strong appreciation for learning that skill set, which I would recommend for anyone. If you don't understand your local government, county, state, national, it really affects how we run our business every day. So that was great. And then CREW wanted me to come back. And I became...
I'm glad you did.
Yes, I know. I was so happy because I knew that there was so much to do. I came back during the recession, 2007, and it was a tough time.
Yeah.
We were struggling a little bit, and but we're going to talk about the Excellence Awards.
Yes. Actually, that's the next question. Leading into Amanda's next
right
question.
into it. And you have so many things to celebrate. And I know with a lot of the people in the industry, sometimes deals and successes aren't necessarily celebrated like we'd all love them to be. And it's wonderful that you were able to see that opportunity and just capture a way to create an award and things like that, that not only just impacts our group, but also other chapters have gone forward and made something similar to it. If you wouldn't mind elaborating on that.
Yeah, so I was, I believe, incoming president. I started my career as a broker with Cushman & Wakefield at that point. And this is before everything was automated and we were able to work on our phones. So I'd be at the office till 11 at night. That's when I would have a committee meeting. So Mercedes Angel was in my office and Lee Young. There's a lot of women that helped me put this together. And I'd be like, look, at 10 o'clock is when we're going to meet. And they would come to my office. We would stay in the office till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
They thought I was crazy.
I thought there were some adult beverages involved.
No. We were really working hard.
Really?
I mean, we were launching something new.
Yeah.
And the reason we wanted to launch it, I had a passion about creating an award program that really was objective.
Yeah.
Like I had been a part of others and it was more of a, beauty contest and hey, who's the best sponsor and who's giving the most money. And there wasn't an objective criteria behind the awards. And I think I have one of the old books that was about this thick for the judges. Imagine, so this is before anything was digital. We had to create this opportunity that now today you could probably do in 5 seconds, but the judges got this criteria book. And then anybody who applied for an award had to put their project in there. That was the PDFs, and we had to print them. And there was a list of questions they had to answer. And 3 of the judges were in the business. 3 of the judges were outside of the business that had something to do with commercial real estate. So like the property appraiser was a judge. Somebody from the city of Tampa was a judge. The housing authority. 3 objective judges that had nothing to do. So there was no connection or ability to say, oh, that was just because they're best friends. We did that on purpose. And then what has it become? The Excellence Awards is now amazing. And when we wanted to launch it, I remember we were in the boardroom and I came up with this crazy idea and everyone was like, are you out of your mind? We're in a recession. I said, listen, even if we break even, which will be the goal, if we break even, this will gain legs. And we're going to do it at the Vinoy. The Vinoy? The Vinoy? Are you crazy? The Vinoy? Like, can't we start at like the Holiday Inn or something? Like, no, black tie at the Vinoy. And that's how we're going to set the stage for raising the bar. And we made like $2,000 that year. We were able to raise enough money to make a little bit of money.
Love it.
And what is it today? So one of the things about me as a leader is I like to start great things and then let the future generations take it over and make it even better. You know, that's kind of been something I've done throughout my career. And now today, the Excellence Awards is one of the best awards programs in the city. I mean, I don't think there's a better one today.
It truly is. I love the real-time voting, and I understand it's going to be a gala again this year. So dress to impress.
Yes. So think about that. It went from that, you know, the PDF, the book, the 3-ring binders, overnighting it to the judges, explaining massive phone calls, to now everything's digital and you're voting live in the room. And it is just impressive. That is what innovation is. Not to take credit for it and like go like this and only do it Julia's way. It was like, no, let's do this. Let's get it started and let the next generation of leaders make it even better. Like Go Fish. I mean, I started Go Fish as well.
Yeah. Well, share with us about Go Fish.
Yes. So no, Go Fish was the same thing. I was on the board. That was when we first launched. And I was on the board, and the Downtown Partnership had the best fishing tournament in the city. I was invited, and I won the whole tournament. My first fishing tournament ever.
No doubt, the biggest fish.
I caught a 40-inch snook, slammed the snook, and we're sitting at the end of the day. I'm on the leaderboard. I'm number one, and I'll never forget. I'm going to call him out. Bruce Earhart with Cushman & Wakefield comes up to me because you could also win if you like accumulate inches too. And he goes, "How many fish was that?" I'm like, "I don't know, one." He's like, one fish? I'm like, "Yeah." And I fell in love with fishing. Aww. So I came back to our board and I was like, "Why don't we do a fishing tournament?" And everybody in the room was like, "Who's going to want to go to a fishing tournament with a bunch of women?" I'm like, "Who wouldn't want to go to a fishing tournament with a bunch of women?" So I learned about how they did it. I called the captain. Sergio was doing it.
Okay.
And he helped us put it together. And I think we made $1,000 that first year. And then same thing, just like, let that blossom now. Yeah. I mean, one of our biggest fundraisers, right?
Yes.
If not the biggest.
Yes.
We have so many now.
And it sells out so quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's an amazing
It's a great event.
Yes. Yeah. So
awesome.
That's just, you know, if you come up with an idea, the biggest risk is not the actual risk. It's imagining the result. Like I'm already imagining the result when I'm taking a risk. When I opened up this office, I already imagined us being somewhere like this. And here we are, less than 3 years open, and here we are in this beautiful space. And I don't worry about the fear of the risk. I'm already imagining and enjoying the results. That's just the way my brain works.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. Well, you know, you're talking about women a lot in what we've been doing and CREW and so forth. If there was advice that you would give to a woman who wants to be involved in commercial real estate, like, for example, you have an intern that's here this summer, who's in the room with us here watching us. But what advice would you give to women who want to get involved in commercial real estate?
It's not that easy, but there's so many different asset classes, and there's so many different roles that you can play. So if you're excited about construction management, you can do construction management, property management. You can be an analyst. You can be a research analyst. Getting into brokerage isn't the easiest. You generally have to know someone. I would say you start early and start networking early because it is truly about networking and who you know. My intern who's here with us today reached out to me on LinkedIn and sent me this dynamite email on LinkedIn, and we had already picked our interns for the summer. Yeah. And I get this email. I'm like, I gotta meet this girl.
Yeah. So, you give a shout out to her.
Yes. Ensley's here.
Hey, Ensley.
She's a killer. She came on board. I was like, so my two operation leads, Felicia and Laura, said, we like her. They vetted her. They were like, you got to meet her. She's like a little mini you. You got to meet her. Aww. She came over and just like has changed my life, just taken on tasks. And one of the greatest things about her, and I'll share it with everyone so you understand this infectious attitude that when I ask her to do anything, even if it's like the most mundane thing, it's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Yeah. Why aren't we doing it? Let's go. Let's get it started. Like,
good energy.
That is great energy. Mm-hmm. I think even when I go back and I talk about the beginning of my career, it was that I was willing to do anything. Mm-hmm. I wanted to learn, and people were like, "Oh, are you sure? Because like you don't do that." I'm like, "That's okay. I'll do it for you," and just make yourself indispensable. Yes. Like so, people want to be around you. People want to be around you. They want to elevate you, And that's really what it's all about. So for me, I never saw the gender disparity. I just always wanted to outwork everybody and do it so that I can learn, not to be better and be like braggy about it, but just to learn, really. And when someone says to me, "Oh, I want you to be my mentor," I'm like, "Well, will you be my mentor?" Because I didn't stop learning.
Yeah.
I'm just not sitting here giving out advice. I'm not that good. Like I want you to come in and teach me as well.
Thought partners together.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Thought partners.
I do want to hop on just one other thing about this topic is wardrobe. You always have a fun wardrobe. Just that's one of the things as we as women we can do.
Yes.
It is be able to be a little jazzy or do something fun.
Where are my shoes? I've got these.
You have some pink bling bling shoes. I saw those. Yes.
You can't see, but let's just throw them
And so
down. And there we go.
That's okay. We're good.
That's my. That was going to be the shoe I wore today, but you can't see our feet. So, but it's wardrobe, it's attitude. I had a tour today, all day with a client, and Angye was on the tour with me, and I go and I get lunch, and I pack a cooler for the client, and they literally when they come to meet me in the morning, I have a cooler for them. There's lunches packed, snacks. How do you differentiate yourself? And like, the guys were like, "What?" Like, yeah, no, we're going to feed you because we're going to be out all day.
Yeah.
And we're just going to, here's your tour package. We have everything in the book. And they're like, "We've never had this. I tour all over the country. No one's ever done that for me." I'm like,
well, that's a mothering instinct too, as women. We want to take care of people, including our clients.
Right. And it's a way to kind of differentiate yourself too. So the challenge and the balance for me is that we have to clean the table. We have to clean the tables a ton.
We get wild.
This is great.
It's live.
This is how it's done. No editing that. That's just perfect.
Yeah, we just keep rolling.
Yes. I think what's great about like being a woman in our industry is that if you look at our digital platforms and the way we market ourselves, you can tell that it is very different from what everyone else is doing. And when we opened up this office and we went on stage, we talked about this. So Lee and Associates raises equity to open up their offices. And we had to go before all of the presidents all over the country. We went to Chicago in October of 23, and it was me and 3 other women on the stage. And they had never had just women present to open an office in 40 years. The company's been around for 40 years. Wow. And our founder, Bill Lee, and they were heavily based in California. It was his vision. And we just got back from Nashville. We had a national summit. And the other thing that I love about our firm is that when we have our national conference, everyone's invited. At the other companies I was at, it was revenue-driven invitations. So if you were a top producer, you were invited. Otherwise, you weren't. We invite everybody. My whole office was in Nashville this week. Angye got to go with us because she handled my social media.
And it motivates you. You see that teamwork, that bonding.
Everybody's there, and whether you're research, marketing, operations, there's something for them to learn, and you just don't find that in the other firms. I forget what it is. We were watching a video of our founder, and he said something like, "It's awful that this model isn't copied. It just doesn't make any sense. It's so simple that this is what I want to do. I want to make sure that our brokers are generationally wealthy, that they keep their revenue, that they keep their commission." He's like, think about how crazy that idea is, and it shouldn't be. And so I think he would have been so proud if he had seen that room. It's a really cool company. But we got to go on stage in October of 23, and we got unanimously voted in and raised our equity. And it's the first time in my life I've raised equity to do something like that. So it was really a great learning experience.
Amazing.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
The energy from all of this is just so uplifting. I wish you all could be here to experience it because it's so positive. You are a guest speaker with our 5th annual State of the Market with Hillsborough County Property Appraisers, Bob Henriquez, and I would love to hear your input on what trends you see in the industrial market.
Yeah. So I was a founding member of the idea behind doing this for Bob. Bob and I go way back.
Wow.
I met Bob when I was the president of NAIOP, and he was a state legislator. And I saw his political journey.
Coach Bob.
Yeah, Coach Bob. He actually coached my son in high school football. My son was a quarterback for That's my little Lee. I'm going to fix that, make sure that's right. Bob coached my son at Tampa Catholic. And my son was a quarterback his freshman year at Tampa Catholic. So I knew Bob from being a state legislator, Coach Bob. And then watched his journey. And when he became the property appraiser, I came up with the idea to kind of help him brand himself as not the guy that taxes us all, because people think that the property appraiser taxes us, which that's not actually the case.
Right.
So I said, why don't we do something like an economic summit? So it's more for the political side of it, because I didn't want to compete with our economic summit, which you can't compete with that. That thing's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That was something that happened during my era of being on the board. I didn't come up with that one. That was Roxanne Amorosa, amazing.
Yeah.
But so Bob kind of said, yeah, let's do it. I said, position yourself in another light so that you become an expert and you just talk about the market versus just talking about, taxing us. So we started that 5 years ago. And so this year
really
I'm one of the panel.
Yeah.
It's grown. It's become something amazing as well. And I'll be on the panel talking about trends. I think we're experiencing a bit of an adjustment in the Tampa Bay market. So post-COVID, there was a massive, quick trajectory. Everybody was moving to Florida. We opened up quicker than everyone else. Florida and Texas saw a huge merge of inbound migration, as you know. It's leveling off, but I think it's coming back again. I think we're seeing reshoring happening. We're seeing more manufacturing companies want space now. Everybody who's a retailer, data centers, we don't want to necessarily talk about data centers. It's such a bad word, but they're necessary. I think it's a necessary evil, if you will. We just have to do it in a smart way. And I think there's smart ways to do it. But I think we're seeing new product coming online. So the adjustment of in inventory coming in, and then kind of moving the needle a little bit as far as vacancies are concerned. But we're seeing such an influx of new business coming. We've got that 1,000 acres that we got the listing on, and it is an incredible project with 6 million square feet of space, industrial space approved, entitled, and that's a big listing that we actually beat 3 other big firms and got the listing last year. So we've been working tirelessly on that, getting everything ready. So we're excited about that. We're working with you guys on it and our utility companies. So it's amazing. I think the market's still very, very healthy. Fundamentally, we have good stats in this market, so we feel good about it. So
that's great to know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next question is networking. Is such an important part. What advice do you give, and how do you network?
So networking is one thing, and anybody can show up to an event.
Right.
And if that is what you're doing, stop. You need to get involved. You need to volunteer. You need to become a part of something that you create a memory with people. That is how people want to work with you. If you can create memories, it is the bit like today when I had that tour, I created a memory for those 2 dudes.
Absolutely.
They were so like
the little packed lunch. Yes.
Packed lunch, like that was a memory. They're never going to forget that.
Absolutely.
But those are the moments that when you're networking and you're just showing up and you're just trying to solicit people, it's not as effective as being on a board, creating the Excellence Awards, creating Go Fish, making something change, making fundamental change in something that then the outcome and the result is something that you can rally around. That's what creates friendships. And then you have authentic relationships.
Absolutely.
That's how networking works. And so it's funny because the Sarasota chapter, the Ian Black folks will tell you, I was down there doing a lunch and learn with the women in their boardroom. And they asked me, Bree Tulp, I think she's an upcoming president down there. She was like, what would you recommend? And I said, why don't you guys start a CREW chapter down here? Because you're big enough, you've got critical mass. And I know you guys don't want to drive an hour and 10 minutes to get to Tampa. And they were like, do you think we can do it? I literally made that connection. I called Shelly and that's how CREW Sarasota happens. Yeah. And they took it on and now it's an amazing chapter that we grew and made that happen. So that's part of networking. That's making something happen that didn't exist before, right? And so now they have the ability to network and do their programs, and they're doing really well.
They're doing very well, SRQ. Yeah.
And I just want to add a little thing to that. One of the great things about networking is you have the opportunity to show that you're able to follow up on things, and you're somebody that's not going anywhere. And so I think what your background has really shown a lot of people is, I'm here, I'm staying, I'm going to do what I said was going to do. So I think with the networking and building that trust just brings so much success to you as well. So building on your current successes, do you have any future goals that you have, either short term or long term, that you still want to accomplish?
I was just nominated to be on the board of directors at my company. So that was
Fantastic.
pretty quick within 3 years of opening up an office. And some of my peers were like, is it too soon? I said, no, because I have so much to share with my experience. You want me fresh off the bench right now, because there's so many things that I want to do better to create a better runway for the future presidents. We have so many offices to open, and I'm involved in some of that. We just opened up a Gainesville office. And so I'm a shareholder in the Gainesville office. So that's the other thing about our firm, is that we could actually buy shares in other offices as they launch if we're involved.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really a great way to create generational wealth outside of just being a broker. That's one of the things that Bill, our original founder, was passionate about. So it's just this great model. But I just accomplished that. I am a Leila. I have two beautiful G nuggets. I call my babies nuggets. I've always called my own children nuggets. Now these are my G nuggets. I have my G nuggets. I have two beautiful.
What's your grandma name?
Leila, abuela, because I'm Cuban, so abuela, and I don't want to hear abuela or grandma. You're going to get punished, and you'll probably never see me again. So I'm Leila. So how much more can I accomplish after that?
Right.
I'd like to do my own investments, which I've started to do, and I do this every day for people, and with my hands tied behind my back, no fear whatsoever. And I've never really done that for me. So that is one of my passions. One of the reasons.
Investment club, maybe a commercial.
That's not a bad idea. We can start something.
I thought CREW Tampa Bay should have an investment club for women who want to, and men too, that want to invest.
Yes, I would love to. I want to for this organization. You heard it. You heard it. So this is how it happens. But for my office, it's something that I tell my brokers: you can go be a broker anywhere, but I want to create a place where you can buy shares in our offices around the country. And I want us to invest, not to compete with our clients, but we often get asked, and I have in my career, I've been asked to invest in a deal, and I couldn't before because I was with a publicly traded company. Now we can do it. So we're going to do smaller investments for our team, and it kind of makes us stickier, and we're going to be partners on stuff together. I'd love to open up our new office in a building we own, that is a dream. Going back to your question, that is something we want to accomplish. I wanted to buy this building. That's another story. But I was trying. I had an investment group. I had cash. I had the whole thing set up, but it didn't work out. It was interesting, but that's another story.
We're talking about this, but affectionately known as the beer can building.
Yes.
And I always thought, like, we have the Super Bowl here in Tampa, which we do frequently, or some other big event. There should be like a big video projection of, like, it doesn't have to necessarily be beer, but it could be Coca-Cola or Pepsi or some big sponsor.
They do advertise on when the Lightning's playing. Sometimes they play the game on the outside of the building.
On the outside of the building.
So I don't know if you can pan to our logo wall, but here's an example of taking something structurally about this building, which is this big circle column in the middle of my conference room. And we're sitting here and I'm like, I can't put art on it. It's just there. What am I going to do with it? And we were having dinner one night. We hosted a nice dinner here with one of our clients. And I was like, you know what? Let's get some magic markers and make that our logo wall. So now when people come and visit, so that's become like a social media post that we do when we have clients come in and they get excited. Some of them practiced weeks before they showed up to get their logo right on the wall. So
I love it.
It's so much fun. You guys have to
post pictures of this.
So you guys have to sign your logos before you leave. So that's part of the experience.
I love it. I love it. What do you anticipate to be your lasting CREW print? And that's a term that Amanda has coined after your CREW print. Like, how would you like your legacy to be? Somebody was talking about your CREW print.
Just if I gave someone an opportunity that they wouldn't have had otherwise, that's my CREW print. And it's not all about just money. I want to create generational wealth for other people now, right? And so that's a passion of mine today. But just to have an experience with me where I've made a difference in your life would be a CREW print for me. Yeah. And I think I've started to do that early on in my career.
Absolutely.
Like that's the thing. It's like I know a lot of very successful brokers and developers that love to make money, and that's what they do. But in my entire career, I always thought of ways to leave my CREW print, whether it was starting something, rallying around the results, not thinking about the risk, and creating those opportunities, those memories that are now amazing things that we took the risk on. That's the exciting part. So for me, it's what's a legacy? The legacy is your impression that you leave on people. My mom said this when my dad passed, and we're at the cemetery. My mom's like 5 feet tall. She speaks no English, and she goes, "Look, Julie, look." And I'm like, "Look at what, Mom?" She goes, "Well, that guy could be a surgeon. That guy could have cured cancer. Your dad looks just this. Everybody looks the same at the end of the day. It's about your family. It's about the people you love. That's really what matters. And just the memories that you create. I mean, even the most famous person, people forget about them. Look at Jobs. I mean, one of the most innovative, most important people in our generation, and gone. So was he a great? I don't know. I didn't know him personally, but I think that for me, it's what people can say about you when you're gone.
Yeah, I do. And when I think about you, Julie, just listening to you and doing this podcast, CREWcast, with you today, the crew print that you have is not only being an original founding member, the Excellence Awards, the Go Fish, and just your enthusiasm is infectious in a good way. And it's just, you're amazing to be a part of CREW. We're blessed to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad that, and by the way, for anyone considering CREW too, I encourage people to get on the board. I encourage people to get involved because as a future leader, you will learn skill sets, making decisions, running the economic side of it, managing the budget, having people rally around some kind of a result you want to achieve. That will give you experience that will make you better in your business as well. I've really gained a lot from that. So there's always politics, right? So I remember when I became the president of CREW, and I looked around the room and I said, ladies, and at that point we only had female board members. I said, ladies, I'm going to be very clear. I'm very busy. And if you guys cannot resolve an issue, because it was kind of a gossipy year, there was a lot going on, right? I said, if you guys can't resolve your own issues before it gets to me, then I would ask you to resign, because we just don't have time for that. I have a lot of things I want to accomplish, and I don't have time for gossip. So let's have a great year.
Nip it in the bud.
Yeah. And I was like, these were my goals, and you have to be very specific about the goals. For like my office, I talk to my brokers at every leasing meeting or sales meeting, and I say, I want everyone in the room to be millionaires. I want to take us to 25 million in revenue in 5 years. Like, they have to understand your goals or they can't rally around it. So that's just one of the things we have to kind of set the goals, and just happy to.
Any other things you want to share to our
I think I've
CREWcast audience?
I'm just I'm happy that you guys picked me, and
Yes.
we just got back from Nashville. There were 10 of us on the flight, and we got in at 11:30, so we're a little tired. But we had an amazing conference, and I'm just kind of on that high, and so happy to be with this firm, and really happy you guys showed up today to spend some time with me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for letting us highlight you and
Thank you.
be able to talk about a few things that are impacting not only your office, but Tampa Bay and Florida. So thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, we talked about the G Nuggets, but I've raised 5 children in this career. And it's for women, I would say this, we missed this. For women, this is one of the best career paths you can take. There is flexibility.
To be able to juggle our responsibilities.
Yes, to juggle the responsibilities. My daughter is a prominent broker at CBRE in New York, and she's also a Gator. Go Gators. And all of my children are really successful, and they watched me become a successful business leader, but I was always there for everything that they were doing. I never missed anything. I coached them.
Awesome.
Didn't miss a
The
game.
flexibility of your schedule is key.
Yes. So,
Great. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, we appreciate you watching this episode of CREWcast, where we feature Julia Silva. We ask you to please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And our final parting words is always remember, stay CREW to yourself.